Okay, welcome to AMA in June. My name is Valur Grettisson. I'm an editor-in-chief at Reykjavík Grapevine.
And I'm Andie Sophia Fontaine. I'm the news editor at the same magazine.
We've had a lot of questions and also a lot of development happened when it comes to COVID in Iceland.
Yes.
It's been a nice month, right?
Yeah, if you live here.
Yeah, if you live here, actually, it's nice weather. People are back on the street. On the street.
Mm-hmm.
It feels very normal these days, more normal than often before.
Mm-hmm.
It's slower, of course. We have fewer people, but Iceland is definitely back on track. And I think CNN, they had coverage about this.
They did.
And that was pretty accurate. It was basically like it is.
Yeah, it was mostly accurate.
Yeah. So it was, no fake news from there.
No.
Not like that have ever been the case, but it depends on who you ask.
No significant errors anyway.
No, exactly. We can only be here for half an hour, basically because I have to pick up my kid at 4 o'clock. So it's personal for this time. So welcome back, Yves. You were with us last time.
Yeah.
Did you send us some questions or how?
Sure.
Right? Yeah. Ordering to Iceland, in my case from friends. Okay.
Any chance of selling Harðfiskur soon?
Yeah, we have actually talked about this with about selling Harðfiskur. Do you like it, the Harðfiskur, or?
The beginning it was quite not to say hard, but unusual. But progressively.
Yeah. Okay.
No, it's fine now. It's fine.
For those that are unfamiliar, Harðfiskur, which literally means hard fish, is fillets of fish, usually haddock or sometimes catfish, that is hung up in the sea air to dry. And so it's like fish jerky in a way. And it's really nice if you smear butter on it before you eat it.
It's good for if you're hiking in the highlands. It's really fat and it's like a superfood almost.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
very
definitely.
Heavy. Yes.
I'm gonna ask personally about this with our marketing managers.
Mm.
Also, a few years ago, I ordered 2 books to Forlagið.is. Forlagið is our biggest publisher in Iceland. They have you can get Icelandic stories in English there even. Unfortunately, I had to pay DHL approximately 40 euros extra fees. So ordering from Iceland risky regarding taxes, or was I just unlucky? Okay. Not sure about this.
Neither was that a DHL fee? Did DHL tax?
I don't know actually. I had to pay the DHL guy, but was it for France or for Iceland or for? I don't know.
How much was the book when you bought it?
It was 2 books, approximately the same price, maybe 40 or 50 euros.
So this was only for the delivering fee?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that might be a DHL
I
thing.
paid twice the price.
Well, in Iceland, though, it's they have been, I don't know, it's actually more expensive to get stuff now, but I thought it was only for Icelanders, actually, too.
Yeah.
We have, weird taxes now because our post office in Iceland, they almost went bankrupt, so they had to, redefine themselves somehow, and they more or less did it with taxes.
That's right.
So, and Abandoned Iceland, many thanks for these great videos. Thank you. Even those without Polly. Yeah. Well, then you have Poppy, so it's not that far off. Some of them just remind me of my trip in South Iceland in July 2008. It's amazing how empty these places are right now.
Mm-hmm.
I know. It's crazy. I haven't seen this for decades in Iceland. It's even slower than it was in the 90s. Some others, I didn't know. Yeah, Heiðmörk seems a nice and convenient place to visit. By the way, I was happy to hear about hugging trees, even though my suggestion in AMA was to assign Sam, but Hannah Jane was great too. Okay. Yeah, it's Heiðmörk is it's a hidden gem, in the big area of Reykjavík.
It is indeed.
So it's like
really close to the city. So
yeah, there are a lot of these places in Reykjavík actually, and it's quite easy to find them. I mean, it's not spectacular, but if you live in the city, it's very easy to like go into like green areas. And even, I mean, I'm now trying to hike 7 mountains in 7 days, and it takes me like 30 minutes to drive to all of these mountains. So it's like we're all within that. So that's very nice. Okay, what's more?
Yeah. Now comes the question.
Yeah.
About videos.
That was a preface to the question. From time to time, could you publish videos in Icelandic? Ideally, of course, with both Icelandic and English subtitles. That would be great, all caps. If you do so, I will write next AMA's email entirely in Icelandic. I promise. I think it's a pretty good idea. Like even though our readership caters mostly to people from outside of Iceland and to some extent immigrants within Iceland, there is a lot of Icelanders that do read and watch our material. And there's also a great number of people abroad who would be, in my experience anyway, people are always fascinated to hear Icelandic for the first time.
Yeah.
When they hear the language spoken and such. I don't know if, since you mentioned my interview with Sigrid in Abandoned Iceland #4, I should point out that my accent is horrible. And if you're trying
That's not true.
Okay, it's bad though. If you're trying to learn Icelandic and you're trying to learn how to pronounce it, it should be somebody who has a better command of the accent at least, such as native speaker like Valur, or one of our new reporters, Nico, I think has a really good accent.
He has a good accent. That's true.
Yes.
The accent is like in whatever language it is, it's always the hardest thing. But I mean, we can have a very complicated discussion in Icelandic, and I understand everything.
Yeah.
So sometimes when I'm going into politics, I'm not that good in English to often go into the very technical details of things. And I just switch to Icelandic, and Andy basically, it's no problem with Andy, which is very comfortable. Could you visit Vestfjords? That's a good question. I read something about Vestfjords winery and curious about it.
Oh, yeah.
We did go to the Vestfjords winery and make some articles about it, right?
Did you?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure though, but there are so many breweries around the country. I forget like where they are. But the Vestfjords is unique in that way that it's like if you're gonna go around the country, it takes not that much time, but if you also go the Vestfjords, you have to add like a month to it because it's very lengthy, and it's also like not that accessible in winters often.
No.
So it's like you try to go there over the summer, and just to drive to Ísafjörður, it takes like it's a wild ride. Always, you always kind of get always out of gas before.
Yeah, you might as well fly there.
Yeah, it's the only way. So it's like the only reason we haven't gone there before, like now in the past 2 months, is because it's just such a rural area. But we definitely should aim for it.
I agree. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And other question, I heard about Atlantic leather in Sauðárkrókur. How important is fish leather industry? Is there a kind of Icelandic leather ship in this domain? Fish leather, is that like they were making a dress out of in the 90s?
Yeah, and bracelets and purses.
Yeah. It was the thing in the 90s and like probably early 2000, but we don't do this that often today, right?
No, it's pretty much tourists that buy it now.
Yeah.
But maybe it'll make a comeback, like the lopapeyser used to be fairly common, then it fell out of fashion and it's kind of dorky, and then a lot of tourists were interested in it. And then it saw this resurgence amongst Icelanders wearing it.
Yeah.
So maybe fish leather will make a similar comeback.
Yeah.
If you come here and buy a lot of fish leather and start wearing it around, maybe people will be like, yeah, that looks pretty cool. We should do it.
Yeah, it was almost like a joke with Icelanders about fish leather. We did not think it was like very classy, but I mean, designers are always finding new ways to use these materials, and especially Icelandic ones. So I think it could actually, it has a second life, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
But it's not a big thing in Icelandic fabric elements at all. What was the exact status not only of beer but also wine alcohol in general in Iceland before 1989? Starting then, beer stronger than 2.25 percent was not illegal anymore. But how was it before in bars and restaurants? Did vínbúðir simply exist before 1989? I love to explain this because Icelanders have a very toxic relationship with alcohol, like incredibly toxic. We banned the beer like in 1930s. I'm not sure about the year, but it was like about that time. We did it because we were trying to, for some reason, protect the people from being drunk all day.
Yes.
But for some reason, we allowed brennivín, which is like strong liquor, and we allowed all strong liquor in Iceland. So it meant that Icelanders did not drink like light wine, red wine, beer, or anything, basically from 1930 to 1989. We just drank like vodka. So we had a very rough culture when it came to alcohol. A lot of like violence around it, a lot of like we were like always violent about everything, and it's like it's not a beautiful story of anything.
But people could still be pretty inventive. You should tell the story of bjórliki.
Yeah, but then when we heard that there was something called beer, it was probably late 70s or something. We were like, okay, how can we make this ourselves? So we took this this beer that we were allowed to sell, like this 2.25% beer, and we made like a cocktail out of like strong liquor. What was it? Like, was it this brennivín?
Brennivín or vodka.
Yeah, brennivín or vodka. And we put it into the beer, so it was like a strong liquor with like a small beer taste, and we tasted this not that long ago, and it's absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
So 1989, we decided to change the law and allow the beer, and basically everything has gone up since. Like we have a very nice like wine culture now.
I would say so.
Really different than when I was younger, and it was like people are very like the next generation, the generation about me, like boomers and such. They are very negative towards alcohol. They do not want to like. They are almost like they're not even like that positive about beer or anything, because there were so many like cultural. Social problems that went with it. So it's like it was more like I don't know. We just have an incredibly toxic relationship with alcohol.
Definitely.
Not because we didn't like Icelanders are brilliant when they're drunk. I love them, but it's just we drank a little bit too much 50 years ago.
I think it's gotten better though.
Yeah, right.
Like when I first came here, I absolutely hated going downtown on a Friday or Saturday night. But now it's like, I don't know. I think that the younger generation handle their alcohol better. Yeah, personally.
Right. Exactly. And then to Daði Freyr, it's not lucky. Gagnamagnið actually deserves to win Eurovision this year. But any comments?
I don't know.
We don't really care.
I don't really know what to say. I'm not from Europe, and so when I came to Iceland in 1999, and I saw Eurovision for the first time, I could not believe this was a real thing. I was like, all of these songs are terrible. It didn't matter what country they came from. It's like, this is all horrible, but people were really into it. And I went from hating Eurovision to like enjoying it ironically to then just unabashedly, unashamedly, unironically loving Eurovision. Yeah. But the fact that it was canceled, I didn't really shed any tears over it. I do agree that like Iceland definitely had a shot of probably in the top 5 for Eurovision this year if everything went well. But what their chances were against other countries, I don't know, because they didn't bother seeing other countries' Eurovision entries. Yeah, it's like the thing is with Eurovision in Iceland, it's often exaggerated how much in love with the contest we are. We are not really. I think like probably 80-90% of the Icelanders really don't care, and they approach it with ironic.
But it's a good party every year, though. We always like meet and drink and like make fun of Eurovision. But it's also like a part of like RÚV, which is our national broadcast in Iceland. They are very like big on this, which means that you can't flee it for some reason. And the music is often just not that good, and we just use the day to get drunk, basically. Hence the toxic liquor culture in Iceland.
Be that as it may, it's fun. I don't know. You get together with your friends, you eat a lot of junk food, and get loaded.
Yeah, nobody gets past like the 10th song or something. It's like what, the 28 songs, and nobody's really listening after that.
No. And then the final question from Eves is regarding the Icelandic horse. If an Icelandic horse, and when I first read this question, I thought you were being philosophical. Because if an Icelandic horse leaves Iceland, it will never return to Iceland. Is that true? And on the other hand, can a non-Icelandic horse enter Iceland?
The second question would be no. You can't bring a foreign horse to Iceland. There are very strong rules about all animals that come to Iceland. So it's like, I mean, you can bring like dogs. I'm not even sure about cats.
Yeah, you can. They just have to go into quarantine.
Yeah, like house animals like that. But you cannot. You cannot just take like a wild fox and just bring it here. You know.
No.
Of course, yes.
So it's like also, although there are almost no animals on this island, well, I lie about that. But there are very few. I think, like appearing, if you compare it to other countries. But we're always like in some ways protecting the nature. But Icelandic horse leaving Iceland and it will never return to Iceland, I'm not sure, but I think it's likely that it is like if you sell a horse to Germany or whatever, I think it's just there is no reason to come back with it, right? Something, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's like completely legal or something. We probably could if it's an Icelandic horse.
Probably, you would probably have to go into 2-week quarantine like any other animal that enters the country from abroad.
Yeah, it's always COVID with the animals. They they always have to quarantine.
Exactly. Since Catherine here is in the chat, I think we should because the last questions are about entering the country, and I know that a lot of you are really excited to know about what exactly is going to happen July 1st.
Yes.
So, but we're going to get to that. But first, Katrin Fredriksson. Is a really interesting question about traveling within Iceland. Asking, I was wondering if you have any recommendations on how to travel around Iceland without driving yourself. For example, is it possible to plan a strætó, which is our bus service trip all the way around Iceland? And I was very curious about that. Well, I can tell you as a longtime strætó user that they have expanded their services to where you can go south as far east as Huppi Hornfjörður, which is in the southeast corner,
close to the Glacier Lagoon.
Yeah, very close to Jökulsárlón. Or you can take a northern route, which can take you to Akureyri. Beyond that point, that I don't know. I've taken like a bus, the Reykjavík excursions, if I remember correctly, to Eyjólfsstaðir.
They actually have a new thing because we're going to walk Laugavegurinn, a hike, not the shopping street, but it's like a hiking route in the highlands, and starts at Lambanalaugar. And Icelandic excursion actually have like Highland Pass, which you can buy. I think I'm not sure how many trips you can buy, but you can buy a trip like to Lambanalaugar, which is like very high in the country. And if you want to walk down Laugavegur and then you end in Þórsmörk, then you could actually take the bus from there to the city again. I think it's only 3 places that you can take that bus though.
Yes.
So if you want to go like really rural, then that would be pretty brilliant, I think.
Yes.
But with the bus, it's like you said, I think it goes the whole circle of Iceland.
Or nearly so. One or the other. Either way, I would advise checking out bus.is, which is Strætó's English site, and they should have all the pertinent information there with regards to like what kind of journey you can take. I know that I've took the bus into the south, all the way to Vik, and it was a very comfortable experience. So I recommend it.
Also, it's easy to just take a bus to the east of Iceland, like Egilsstaðir. You can fly there also. Cost a little bit. I'm not sure how it is now in the COVID. Also, East Iceland is often like forgotten, like pearl in Iceland. It's like it's on the opposite of Reykjavík in the countryside, and it takes like 9 hours or something just to drive there.
Yeah.
So it's quite a trip.
But it's worth it.
It's definitely worth it. It's like also both they have like wonderful small towns all around, and they have like the biggest forest in Iceland, and there's just tons of things to do. The same with the Vestfjords. It's like I would almost say that like encourage you to fly there. If not, then take a bus. But it's a long ride, and it's an odd ride also. It's almost like a psychological test for you.
Yes, it's quite an endurance test because there's very few tunnels, and so most of those are going in and out of the fjords.
Yeah.
But I think we definitely issue a word of warning that if you fly to Ísafjörð, that you're also in for a wild ride, because as that plane lands, and this is no exaggeration, it is really a white knuckle experience. As you look out the window, you will see a mountain bank like a few meters from the tip of the wing. And yeah, I recommend closing your eyes.
It's probably the most complicated airports in Iceland, but we have never had any.
But it's 100% safe.
Yeah.
For the record, there's not been a crash at Ísafjörður airport or anything like that. So it is an absolutely safe way to travel.
Also, like in the Westfjords, it's the same. It's like it's also like a place that very many tourists dismiss because it takes such a long time to go there, and such an odd like off-road experience. And but it's like incredible places there. You can find like just by the highway, you can find like a shore just outside of the highway, and you can see like hundreds of seals there just chilling and just doing whatever. So it's like it's all like that in the Westfjords. So, but it's long and it's weird, and it can test you, and you will be car sick probably once or twice. So you have to have a good stomach for it, I guess. But we love it,
and a lot of dedication.
Yeah,
for sure.
Okay, something more from Catherine though.
No.
3 weeks, Maja.
So it doesn't have to be a speedy form of travel.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, 3 weeks is actually a fantastic time to just. Then you can take it all. I mean, if you take.
Pretty much. Yeah.
I would encourage you to like if you go into Vestfjord, you can go in 2 different places. You can drive straight to Ísafjörður, or you can drive through to Patreksfjörður on the other side, on the west side. I would encourage you to start there, like drive to Patreksfjörður, which is like one of my favorite places just in Iceland. And from there you can go to Ísafjörður and then back to the highway. So
that's good advice.
It's a long way. I'm not sure how many days it could take, but you can't do it like in a few days. You can't do it in a week. But then you end up in the highway, and then you can go straight to north to Akureyri.
Exactly.
So
we have Daniel Vanderberg, Jonathan Kim, and Lisa Lowenberg here are all asking. Well, Daniel has more questions than just this, but these are all folks asking about July the 1st with regards to, because as those of you who've been following our news know, on June 15th, Iceland threw open the doors to UK and EEA nationals, where you can either go into 2-week quarantine or get screened. And on July 1st, there were tentative plans to do the same for everyone else. And our Justice Minister, Áslaug Arna, had said that even if the EU decides that they're going to keep the borders closed longer, Iceland will open them up. And but there's people that have been raising concerns specifically because Icelandair apparently is not allowing some people from the United States to book flights to Iceland just yet. And so people are naturally concerned. And I think this needs to be addressed. EU leadership, as July 1st approaches, are a little bit concerned that some countries in the world are not handling their response to the coronavirus pandemic as well as other countries. And so they're in discussions. This has not been decided. I think this bears emphasizing.
Yeah.
This is not carved in stone, but they're discussing barring nationals from certain countries from entering the EEA, Schengen area, the European Union, and the Schengen area. Iceland's a part of the Schengen area. The top countries that have been in discussion are the United States, Russia, and Brazil. And there's other countries that have also been brought into discussion. There's a news story on this at grapevine.as/news. And so this is probably the reason why Icelandair is kind of hesitant at the moment, because you have to understand there's also connecting flights. Like some folks might be trying to go through Iceland into Europe. And also the Minister of Justice needs to make a definitive statement about July 1st before Icelandair can start letting people in. And I know that's very frustrating for people who are outside of the Schengen area who are looking forward to coming to Iceland on July the 1st. But
as just Europe in general.
Yeah, that's that too. But as that's right around the corner, I would expect a decision within the next few days.
Yeah.
And as always, we will keep you updated, like on the moment it happens, or close to it.
But the situation is not good. It's basically that we are going to open the borders, outer borders, like on 1st of July. Our Minister of Justice has said this, that she would do it, Iceland would do it either way if the EU would do it or not. But she never said that they would open it for everyone. So it means that high-risk countries like the US, like Brazil, like Russia, even Pakistan, and more countries that are like getting now like very, very bad situation going on like in a lot of places. So it means basically that you could end up in like high-risk area list. And our top epidemiologist, Þórólfur Guðnason, he kind of has the final say about this. So if he will say like these areas are not are too risky, then it will be like that. Also, if the EU say that these 3 countries will not be allowed to come into Europe, Iceland will very likely follow that decision. So that means that these countries will be out.
Yeah, and I'm sorry if you were looking forward to coming here at this time. I would strongly advise being in touch with Icelandair, and because they can keep you updated if you request to do so, but do keep in mind that they probably have a high volume of people contacting them.
Yeah, it's absolutely like, we think this is like, it's a bummer definitely, but I don't know how to, your leaders need to fix this somehow.
Yeah.
Okay, now is, we kind of need to just stop this somehow. Yes, we just want to remind you on our High Five Club membership, we have Elbow Club that this is of course all about. And also if you just want to like give us, what do you call it? Sponsor us in other ways.
Yes.
Sponsor, not sponsor, but it's a weird way to say it, but we have a shop online, which we're hopefully going to get some Harðfiskur, and you can check that out. It's odd, but it's fun. And we have a lot of books also, and clothes and whatnot. So please remember that. If you like, of course, the video, and you like us, and you want more questions, you can like and subscribe, comment. You can always send us an email. And I'm forgetting something.
No, I think that pretty much covers it.
Yeah. And if you want, we should actually make bjórlíki. Everybody's asking about this. Because you like, we should sell this in our shop, like bjórlíki.
Yeah, I don't know. And we might need a special license for that.
That's true, yeah.
But if we do start selling Harðfiskur and you buy some, I highly recommend keeping it in an airtight container. Otherwise, your whole fridge is going to smell like this stuff.
Yeah. It's horrible, the smell, yeah. It's like, it goes everywhere.
Yes, but it is delicious.
Yeah, that's true.
Very sad.
So, thank you, and thank you for watching.
Thank you. Bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, see you later, Yves.